Scott's showing up. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Helm November 3rd developer meeting. It's 2022, post-KubeCon. So today, I'm sure we're going to talk about that. Welcome, everyone. Be aware that we're recording. So looking at the notes, we have nothing. So let's start off with, are there any announcements, maybe post-KubeCon or others? Nothing, anybody? Nothing to
add? We probably do need to add a few items to the agenda. By the way, I just found out last night that my daughter is tested positive for COVID. So we're kind of taking precautions and making the necessary calls and doing all that today. So I may not be quite as active, but there are a few things maybe I could say.
I hope she feels better and that you guys don't get it or don't get it too hard.
Me too.
So who was at KubeCon? I wasn't. No?
I was.
Scott.
Yeah,
Scott
Andy
and Andrew?
Was. Or sorry, Andy Block was.
Was it good?
Yeah, personally, there was a ton of interest around Helm. Tons. The booth we got a lot of good booth traffic. We got rid of all our swag, so I continue to see more and more emphasis of Helm, mainly because of its ease of use. Simple.
That's great.
Yeah.
That's good to hear. Any involvement, people, trying to, or giving you impression that they'd get involved or something?
Yes, I chatted with a number of different organizations, both who actually had booths at the event, but also some, organizations who were there in general as attendees who expressed interest of not only Helm itself, but also even collaborating here in the community. So really, I thought from a Helm perspective, it was a really good event.
Great.
Awesome.
Great. Thanks to all who put in the effort to make that happen. Too bad Karen isn't here.
I thought so too. Yeah, it would be nice to hear from others who were there as well. Karina, Karen, and Matt, Farina, Matt Butcher too. Who else was there from the Helm team? There were several other people. Yeah, from the Helm team, at least of old, And
were any of the I don't want to say old maintainers, but the maintainers we see less often there?
That's exactly what I was just thinking. I was like, how do I say that? Maintainers, ye old maintainers. Yeah. Existing maintainers that we don't see quite as often. Yes, we're there.
Good. Okay.
Basically spent some time at the Fermion with the Fermion folks, where most of those people will now reside. Also Matt Fisher, which was nice. So yeah, and what you were saying, Andy, Andy Block, about Helm people. There's the few things that I know of, like just the continued effort to find folks to do pull request reviews. There are a number of other people who said yes, similar to Andy S. A number of other people who said yes, I would love to help review pull requests. We'll just have to see how many of those we have follow-ups with, but a few of them, I think it was less like hundreds of people wanting to do it, kind of anonymously, and more like a handful or more of folks who we do know who they are, so we can continue following up with them.
That's
and
great.
See how they're feeling. I think the main thing is to unblock them if anyone feels blocked on it. Yeah, basically just there are resources, but not everyone knows exactly what steps to go in and what to find, or not everyone knows exactly what they don't know, but they know they feel like they're not quite ready to do it. Or they feel that they're not quite ready to do it. And so it's probably, I think the steps that we went through for the a few months ago at the NYC Kubernetes meetup, where Andy Block was there with me and Karen as well, where we guided folks through what they need to know in order to review PRs. That was really helpful because I think it helped people kind of rule out the idea that there are these big scary things that they wouldn't know about, that would prevent them from doing it. And like steps to reach in order to kind of be able to review different kinds of PRs.
Okay, good.
So I guess I'd really like to get those codified, but at least for now, we could just perhaps use that as a script. And I will definitely follow up with folks, and Andy, I don't know if anyone reached out to you about that part, but if so, we could maybe we can stay in contact about that.
I will call out that for the actual Helm maintainer talk, we had an impressive number of people in the audience. We had 345 people in attendance.
Oh my Lord.
Yeah.
Who gave the talk?
It was myself, Scott, and Matt, and Karina.
Wow, nice.
And there was standing room only. And fortunately, we had a room that actually matched the demands, unlike Valencia, where we had to turn most people away. So everyone got in.
That's great. I've given talks before, never to that many people. That's amazing. Good for you guys.
Yeah.
Oh wow. Okay. Well, that's encouraging. It's a good feeling to know that Helm is.
Told you it was hot.
Yeah. And now it's official. Everybody can hear it.
Yeah. Yeah. But we the audience felt really engaged as well. To me,
yeah.
Anyway.
Okay. Okay. Well, that's good. That's good. We'll probably bring it up again next week if we have other, if Karen's here and Matt is here and get their points of view. But I'm glad to see you guys had a good time and it was fruitful for Helm. Announcements. I'll be honest. I come to these meetings. I haven't followed up on what's been happening, so I don't even know if we have a build coming up. It should be next week, I think, if we look in the calendar. Should be the second Wednesday, and let me look that up now, unless somebody knows already. Patch release. We should have a patch release Wednesday the 9th. I'm hoping Farina will jump on it as he kindly always does. So be aware of that timeline if there are things scheduled for the next patch release.
Yeah, and now that KubeCon and some of the whirlwind around that has died down. I mean, we do have to get the next CFPs out pretty damn quickly, but luckily not as soon after as we did last time. There are several of us who have been shadowing with Farina on the release process.
Oh, good.
Too.
Okay.
So I'll reach out to Matt again to try to do another one of those, and maybe we can, one of us can take the lead on it, so that we can kind of spread the,
the load, yeah.
Responsibility, yeah, the load.
Okay, I'm trying to look. What's our last release? Wasn't it 3.9 or 3.8?
Thought it was 10.
10, yeah. 3.10. Why don't I see any release branches? Oh, I didn't pull them.
3.10.1 is the last.
Okay. I wanted to check if there was any content. Yeah, release 3.10 branch. Yeah, up to now, there's no content from what I can see. There's no content since the last patch release. So clearly, if nothing gets in the next week, we'll cancel the 3.10.2 release.
Yeah, it would be nice if we could get some of the the additional OCI work that several of us, including Andy Block, are coordinating and putting work into. I think it's worth mentioning, Andy, don't you, that you've been doing, you and I met about some of the, basically the OCI connection methods.
Yeah, there's a lot of things in flight. What I'm doing right now is taking two of the primary pull requests that are addressing, as Scott mentioned, the connection deficiencies that currently exist, and making them into a unified branch that can then be PR'd against main. Right now, there's a lot of intertwining, and they need some tender love and caring to be able to bring them together. So I'm working on testing that out, and then we'll be merging that into, or looking to merge it into master main, pardon me, soon.
All right, thank you, NDB.
Oh yeah, and then I think we should probably call out that like Sule Ba and Max Jonas Werner are helping with different pieces of this too. And then there are other members of the community who have added those PRs. So there's some coordination going on in DMs right now. It would be nice, I think, to bring that to a, it got a little noisy, so we moved it to DMs, but I think it would be nice to bring that public at some point. You know what I mean, Andy? Maybe we could do that in the Kubernetes
Yeah,
Delve channel.
that's fine.
Cool. And there's a few documents like listing the test cases, like one that Andy made with test cases, and tied to another one that has basically just the start of creating a matrix of the different connection transport options, the different OCI providers, and the different tools that are built on top of that, or that tie with the Helm functionality, including Helm, to see kind of, it would be nice to just have like a visual matrix of which of those are supported currently and which are not. So that's what I think Andy's testing is doing for part of that. And I think we'll just keep chipping away at it. Anyway, do you think, I guess here's a question, Andy, do you think any of that is looking good potentially for the next patch? Like any kind of bug fixes? Okay.
Yeah, I'm probably gonna have to push it off a little longer.
Okay.
It's a little bit gnarly in terms of bringing. There's a lot of overlap. I want to make sure that we avoid go through a couple different rounds of test integrations.
Yeah. Okay. Then we can talk about it later then too.
All right, thanks guys. And thanks Andy S for the great note taking. I wish I could be that good. All right, we have a couple items officially on the list, so let's not miss those. Philippe, HIP 16.
Yes, so bring that one up again. So still waiting for review there, or like reviews are two approves are there. Still one change request since July, I guess. I'm waiting for a re-review here from Matt. I don't know if he can't fit it into his schedule, and what would be then an alternative of getting this, maybe a third review from someone else or something, so we can dismiss this at some point, or I don't know if how to continue here. Kind of, yeah, like what is it now, 3 months or so, no action here. We basically just waiting to start doing a implementation on this.
I'm wondering if maybe we can politely mention this to Matt on the maintainers chat, just to let him know, since he's not here, or else we'll have to wait a week. Scott, you think that's appropriate to put it on Keybase or something, just to let Matt know that, you know,
Yeah,
this,
absolutely. Which yeah, why not?
see HIP introducing export values,
Oh, okay.
HIP
Yeah, there's
16.
like, now that I'm looking at it, there's a number of open PRs for the proposals.
Yeah, it's got Josh had approved a while ago. You have approved.
Yeah,
It's just Matt who had some comments. I think I have some concerns about backwards compatibility, so we need to.
Yeah, and I worked with Scott on like finding solution for this and update it. So I'm not saying that it's perfect, right? And
Yeah.
if you want to have another look, totally fine for me. But
yeah, we do have 2 approvals, and we could. And again, this is a HIP. It's not. And it's. You know, I think
It's an actual
we can
code, yeah.
incorporate it now. Yeah, yeah, because I believe Matt's concerns are addressed, and if they're not, that can be something that get addressed through the HIP process of moving it from draft through the other stages. So I'm gonna go ahead and merge this.
right,
Right.
won't complain.
Yeah, no, it's fine. I mean, that's why we have. I mean, basically, I asked Matt a while ago, like, you know, I think it's looking good. I said, you know, I believe that your concerns were addressed in the HIP, and he just didn't quite get back to that. But that was, you know, that was in July. So I think he's probably just got a lot on his plate, and this is not a deal breaker. We have enough reviews, so enough approvals.
Great. Well, these meetings are very efficient. Next,
Very-
thank you,
that's
Scott.
very fun.
And already in the notes, thank you, Andy. So Andy S, large number of PRs.
Yeah, I mean, this is just kind of a general philosophical question, but as someone who has been trying to get into PR review, it's overwhelming. Just the sheer number of PRs, the sheer, you know, I've attempted to get Triage Party working. I'm also completely swamped at work. So that's a whole nother problem. That's my fault, but it is difficult and unapproachable for someone, you know, even, you know, relatively experienced with Helm and that knows Go to dive into reviewing PRs just because of the sheer number of them. And I did notice that I believe Stalebot's working for issues, but Stalebot doesn't do anything with PRs. And I was wondering if maybe there's ever been a conversation about using Stalebot for PRs, if there's, you know, another strategy that we can use to prioritize, order these, or if, you know, and if there's any interest from the larger group in trying to wrangle that. So,
Scott.
I was trying to see if the Slack auto detect if my hand feature worked. That's why I raised it for so long, but I do have something to say. Yeah, I don't know what, otherwise I wouldn't have raised it for so long. That was kind of awkward. But yeah, my suggestion is why don't we get a meeting together, like a working session together to look with a goal of prioritizing PRs and having a good way to note that, you know, and yeah, because we are in a little bit of a different situation than we've been in for a while. I mean, there have been open PRs for a really long time. It's just over the course of years, but I think we do have a bit of a dip in, we have a bit more of a bottleneck in the last year or so than we've had all this time in the Helm team before then. So yeah, so that could maybe help with the initiative to encourage more users to say, hey, like we actually could get involved in peer reviewing. And again, I don't want to be a broken record here on this call about exactly, you know, like what's involved in that, but it's I think a lot of people don't realize that they can help with the PR review process just by trying to see if there's an issue that's connected to it, you know, and like can the issue be reproduced, and can you build the PR and like the Helm binary from the PR, and here's the steps how to do it, and just run the steps that you did to try to, that you were able to break it and see if it's now fixed. You know, it doesn't necessarily mean that the code's going to get, like, we might still have suggestions about how the code would be adjusted or guidance for the PR creators, but that would take enormous weight off of it. Anyway, so that's just, again, that's like as compressed as I can say it. But if we do something like, you know, I don't know, whether it's a bug scrub or whatever we want to call it, you know, like a PR review organizing, you know, like a PR prioritization meeting. I think that'd be better than just turning on, like, making sure that PRs that are old are closed for staleness, because the staleness isn't really, a lot of the time, it's not really the fault of the PR creator.
Yeah, which is fair. I go back and forth on that myself as to whether that's appropriate, because on one hand, you are, you know, encouraging people to continue to follow their PRs, because like my experience getting a hit merged, it's like really the key is persistence. Just, you know, show up and ask for it, you know, ask for reviews and bug folks about it. And that may be a little bit too much to ask of everyone to do. So I go back and forth on that. You know, whose responsibility is it, and can we ask the folks submitting PRs to continually follow up, especially in the face of the bottleneck that you mentioned. So it's a tough balance, I guess is what I'm saying.
So I don't know if there might be some tooling that could help with prioritizing this. I mean, I have seen this in other communities in action. Can't remember exactly where I saw that. Stuff like author action labels that would like basically deprioritize the PR from review, right? If you already send it back to author action, you just wait. That can be a bot, maybe. I don't know if Pro has support for something like that. I think I saw something there. That you
Maybe we
just
can look
like
into that when we do the priority meeting. You know, what do you think about that? Because I actually, I'm just going to tell you what my gut feeling is. My gut feeling is that we just need to put in the work to organize it in a way that Andy S. was just describing. Like, just, can we prioritize these things? I think that's a great idea.
Yeah, but I don't think it should be like a manual effort, right? So like kind of like a backlog where someone manually sorts those PRs.
I mean, yeah. If you have ideas about like how to do it, that's great. My only concern is that we accidentally deprioritize someone who we should be prioritizing.
Yeah.
And then harm the community, you know, by turning off contributors. But if we can talk about the details of it and feel like we're not going to be doing that.
Initially, I would think like you prioritize by basically the oldest, right? Who didn't get a who didn't get a response for the longest period, right? Should be the one that gets an answer first. Maybe you could even take the size into account, like a 2-line fix should maybe be merged pretty quickly, right? It's also easy to review. And also, yeah, we probably would need something like an author action also, because you don't want to see all the PRs on top of priority that are just waiting for like you requested changes and then, yeah, basically are waiting for response there.
That was kind of the criteria I was trying to put together when I was trying to build a triage party config. Was just like, okay, how do I make triage party give me the list of, you know, sorted by length that it's been open, and then I was filtering by size, because like I can go in and review and access much quicker than I can a large. In fact, most of the larges I'm not qualified to review, and things like that. So, but I think coming up with a list of those criteria could be helpful, and I think putting together a group to do that, Scott, is a great suggestion.
Yeah, and that's a good idea. That criteria does need to be there. I think we just kind of use best judgment, honestly, without really having a set criteria. Like, for example, there are PRs that are several years old, you know, more than a year old, right? Let's just say, and those probably very likely aren't very high. It would very likely getting that in by someone who contributed several years ago might not be quite as valuable, or who proposed something several years ago, and then a lot of fixes, changes that happened since, might not be quite as valuable for the community as someone who's been waiting for several months, waiting for maybe 6 months or something, I'm not really sure exactly where the sweet spot is, but maybe we can just talk it over a little bit more and determine something, or just some rules of thumb, and then just like try to use our just our human intuition, to
I mean, if I see a several years old PR, I would probably first ask, hey, is this still relevant? And if it is, then maybe we should finally get it in then, right? To get rid of those. Actually, there shouldn't be PRs that are older than a year that are still open. Either we decline and say, okay, it's not, or there's a change request and the author didn't act anymore, then it's stale and should be closed, or it's
I
got
like that. Maybe we
merged.
can make a workflow of
Okay.
labels for
I'm gonna have
PR
to.
triage.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
Sorry, Scott. I'm gonna have to call. It's good discussion.
Oh,
I
yeah,
think
let's follow up.
we're on time. Yeah. So Scott, thank you for offering to. Well, maybe not offering, but at least suggesting that there'll be a meeting to discuss this, so you guys can continue the discussion. We addressed all the meeting points in the agenda. We need moderator and notes and triage and PR review for the next week. Anybody?
Took notes.
So Andy, which one? The notes?
I grabbed notes. Yeah,
Thank you. You're on fire.
easy for me.
Triage, Philippe, thank you. PR reviews.
Yes, you can put me down for it. If I can gather more, if we can have more people that do that, that's great too.
And I'll if there's no moderator, I'll moderate. I just don't want to. I'm a chatter, and meetings, as you can see, sometimes tend to go long when I moderate. So if somebody else wants to do it, that's fine. But if not, I'll do it.
I think you do a great job, by the way. I'm happy to tag team with you whenever, Mark.
Thank you, Scott. That's nice.
Yeah, no, I mean it. And Andy, since you're taking notes, if you don't mind just making a note under the PR triage part that the action item is that'll be then my responsibility to reach out to you all and other folks about getting that working session going this week.
Let me know if I can help.
Okay.
So
Yeah. I would be
All right.
interested as well.
Thank you, everyone. And for a meeting,
Thank
I thought
you.
it was going to be empty. It was really interesting. So thank you. And have a good rest of the week.
thanks.
Thank you.
Everybody
Talk
take
to y'all
care.
later.
Bye-bye.
Bye.